Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Strategic Management. We are jumping into week 2, and I wanted to share some of the content for week 2 and also kind of what's happening and where we're headed and what we have ahead. So, as we start this week, the information this week that you'll be reading really dovetails nicely with the business strategy game and how you're going to start out by kind of figuring out as a company CEO, and assuming you would normally do this with your whole team, but you're going to be figuring out what your strategy is, who your company is, what they stand for, what kind of product they make, who their customers are and should be. And all of this process begins with the organization's vision and mission statement. So when you think about a vision, it's really your kind of almost unattainable vision statement. It's somewhere way out in the future, a big audacious goal, something that you would like to become if you could take your organization, if it could be anything. So the vision statement itself should be short, and that's so that people can remember it and then take it from there and develop it into more of a applicable statement, which we call the mission statement. So the mission statement is really more about our purpose and how we're going to do this. So the vision statement might be something very admirable and difficult to attain, like being the world's greatest polytechnic school in the world. And our mission could be something a little bit more applicable. And if you go on OregonTech's website, you can see what our mission objectives are. So it's really a declaration of who we are, why we exist. And in forming your mission statement, you're going to look at what your business is and begin setting some objectives that formulate your strategy. So the shared vision is more of this idealistic goal that people have in common and a direction in which they're heading. And then the mission is more specific. So, but it does a lot for us. For instance, a vision and mission helps unite the company and the organization. As a new employee, it helps you understand where the company's going, beginning of its culture, its processes, its way of doing things, and what's important, what's not important. And so it allows people to begin to come together to meet those objectives. Okay, so vision and mission also are spring from the values that are important to a company. And you can often go onto a company's website and look at their about page and or about the company and take a look at what values are really, really important to them, right? So that you can again see how what's underneath. And we're going to explore a little bit of that in the homework and in the discussion question as well. So I am going to post a video for you underneath this lecture on Canvas, and it's a video about Patagonia's company culture. So several of you may know who Patagonia is. It's an outdoor clothing company, and it's very environmentally friendly. The founder of Patagonia was all about nature, saving the great outdoors, and being part of it. And so he's built this entire company culture around that. Another company that we sometimes look at when we're looking at a lack of values would be Enron. Now, Enron's debacle was a couple decades ago, so maybe some of you younger students may not be aware. It's pretty infamous. So Enron had some pretty unscrupulous energy trading practices, and its executive team ended up going to jail once everything came to light. I actually have a copy of um, their ethical statement, and it's a small book on their values and their ethical viewpoint. And I can tell you pretty much from what I read inside it, they didn't follow any of it. On their website, what you would have seen, they're no longer obviously in business, is they stood for respect, integrity, communication, and excellence, and they pretty much did none of those things. Another video that I'm going to load for you is how to build a business that lasts 100 years. And this should be pretty interesting because you can see, again, how important the vision, mission, and the strategy is in doing this, in building this type of company. Again, I'll post it below this lecture on Canvas. Also, if you just pull up the PowerPoint, these are hot links as well that'll take you to the video itself directly. So how do we know when we get there? How do we know when we're accomplishing our objectives? There are a number of ways. One that is widely used in industry is called the Balanced Scorecard. The Balanced Scorecard is a way of looking at both short-term and long-term goals and making sure that you start with your mission and your build your objectives around that, and then everything these are pulled all the way through the organization. So in terms of setting goals and targets and HR policies, so when you promote, don't promote somebody, everything keeps coming back to this these objectives. And so many years ago I did one for our company, but here is just a diagram of what this might look like. So there are four main areas. You notice that your vision and strategy are in the middle, but we look at financials, we look at our customer, and a customer can be either an end user or another business. So for instance, if your business makes auto parts and sells them to Ford or GM or Chrysler, then that's your customer. Internal business processes, really how lean and mean are we? How do we conduct our business internally? How do we communicate? What's important in our processes, and how well do they contribute to the impact, the positive impact on our company performance? And then the last one is learning and growth. So with the idea being that companies need to constantly adapt, which means that their employees need to always be learning and adapting. And so we can actually set objectives here and then come up with instruments or questions and how we're going to measure that, set some targets, and then continually look at those. So many years ago, I created a Balanced Scorecard strategy map for a clinic. And you can see at the top, here is finance. This is one of them. So one of the goals is to increase shareholder value. And so how are we going to measure that? We're going to measure it through revenue growth and productivity. And so if we're looking at revenue growth, we're going to use a % increase in revenue, right? And so this just pulls all the way down through here. In terms of customers, we looked at a customer intimacy as our marketing customer strategy. And these are the ways that we're going to measure those. So, and then this is incorporated in every employee review and strategy meetings, everything. So we continually update this and make sure that we're on track, and then reevaluate to see if the objectives that we set are reasonable ones and if the measures actually measure what we were hoping